These are the assembly instructions to my locking canister. So I had done the Halloween version. To explain the assembly of it, I'm going to do the Christmas version, and they both go together pretty much the same way. I'm starting with the locking mechanism that goes at the bottom of my canister. I have two pieces that are thin rings, but this one is thicker. So this is the piece that's for my locking mechanism. And then I have the two pieces that have that lock piece cut out of them. One of them is out of cardstock and the other one is out of craft board because I wanted something a little sturdier. So I'm starting with this band and it has tabs on either side of it. I'm just folding down on all of those tiny tabs. And I'm doing that on both sides. And then I'm laying my piece down on my craft mat and I'm running my bone folder just along the edges just to smooth out those points that are between my tabs. And I'm doing that on both sides. So I have a score line at one end. I'm not folding down on that score line, but I am putting glue from that score line to the edge. I'm bringing the other end around and I'm gluing it to that score line. So that cut edge needs to be right at the score line that's on my tab. And I'm folding the tabs at one end away from the center and folding the tabs at the other end towards the center of my piece. And then I'm going to take my craft board piece. I'm positioning it inside my form, but I want the center of this cutout, so approximately there, to be right at the seam that's on the wall of my piece. I'm putting glue all around the perimeter. And then I'm lowering my piece and just making sure that I've positioned it right at that join. And then I'm going in with my bone folder, spreading the glue, and I'm making sure that my blue piece is following the shape of my round craft board piece. So from the interior, I'm putting glue on all those little tiny tabs all the way around my shape. Then I'm taking my ring piece, I'm lowering it into my shape, I'm folding my tabs onto the surface of it. And I'm just working my way around, adhering those tabs to the surface of my ring piece. I'm sure these probably won't get in the way. I'm just going to snip these tabs just to make sure. So now I'm taking my second circle that has the cutout in it and I'm just covering the underside of it in glue, gluing it onto the top of my craft board, making sure that the cutouts are exactly on top of one another like so. And then I'm going to flip my piece over and I'm going in with my bone folder and spreading that glue. So next I'm working on the canister. I have two rounds for the bottom of it. One of them has a line that goes through the center. So I'm going to start with that one. I'm taking my lock and I'm putting glue on the underside of it over all those little tabs, placing it in the center of that circular piece. So I want the seam of this piece that goes through the center of the cutout to be right on that line that's drawn onto the surface of my circle. And as best I can, I'm centering my piece so there should be an even border all the way around. This piece is the wall of my canister and I'm just holding down on all those little tabs on both sides, just like I did for my lock piece. And once again, I'm just smoothing out the edges between my tabs. So on one end I have a score line, so I'm putting glue on that small area from the score line to the edge, and then I'm bringing the other end around and I'm placing the cut edge of my other end right on the score line. I want the score lines on the left and right to match up. I'm going in from the interior and spreading that glue. On one end I'm folding the tabs towards the exterior of my shape. On the other end I want them all folded towards the center of my shape. So I'm taking my lock piece and I'm putting glue all around the perimeter of it. And then you notice I have a drawn line here. I want the seam of my lock to be pretty much where that drawn line is. So as I'm lowering it down, I'm being very careful to keep that drawn line and the seam of my lock piece in line with one another. I'm going to flip my piece over and make sure that those tabs are all sticking nicely to the bottom. And I have a full circle. I'm just putting glue on the underside of that full circle, and then I'm positioning it right over the bottom like so. From the interior, I'm putting glue on all those tabs that are at the top of my piece. And I'm taking one of my ring pieces and I'm positioning it inside my shape, and then I'm laying my tabs flat onto the surface of that ring piece. I'm working my way around the perimeter of my canister, gluing them all down. So next I'm taking my second round, I'm putting glue all around the underside of it, and I'm just gluing it over the tabs. So I'm pinching it into position and making sure that that glue takes. So next I'm working on the part that actually holds the key. I have another one of these pieces that has the tabs on both sides. I'm folding down on all those tabs as I've done previously. And again, I'm smoothing out the edges. I'm putting glue from the score line to the end on that tab without folding down on that score line. And then I'm bringing the other end around and gluing the cut edge of that end right to the score line, making sure that the score lines on both sides are nice and even. So I'm folding up the tabs on one end of my shape and positioning the other tabs so that they're pointing towards the center. I'm taking one of my ring pieces and putting glue all over the perimeter, and then I'm lowering it into my shape. And then I'm going in with my bone folder and I'm just spreading that glue. From the interior, I'm putting glue all over those tabs that are at the top. I'm taking my other ring piece, I'm lowering it into my shape, and I'm folding down on my tab pieces, and I'm gluing them down to the surface of my ring piece. And then I'm going in with my bone folder and just spreading that glue. So next I have my key pieces. So this is the mechanism that locks my canister. So I have 4 that are shaped like L pieces. For 2 of them, there are score lines, and I'm just folding down on those score lines. They should fold away from one another. So I'm putting glue from the score line to the edge on one of them. Then I'm grabbing the second one and gluing it right on top. And then I'm taking one of the 2 pieces that are shaped like an L but have no tabs. I'm putting glue all over the underside of it. These pieces are all cut out of craft board. I'm just gluing it right below that score line and matching up all the sides and edges. I'm flipping my piece over and I'm doing the exact same thing with that other identical piece. Just making sure that those tabs still fold down nicely. Then I have 2 strips and I'm just gluing them down to either side of my key piece. So all these layers make my key piece nice and sturdy. So I'm setting that aside for now, and I'm starting on the top of my lid piece. So I have another one of those pieces with those tiny tabs, and here we go again, folding down on those tiny tabs and smoothing out the edges. And then I'm putting glue from the score line to the edge on that end tab. I'm bringing the other end around. I'm gluing that cut edge right to the score line. Where they meet up, the bottoms are nice and even. I'm going to flip my piece over and I have all those little tabs pointing towards the center of my shape. And then I have a round piece that has a slot in the center. So I'm putting glue all around the perimeter of this piece and I'm lowering it into my shape. And I'm going in with my bone folder and spreading that glue. So next I'm going back to the inner part of my lid. I'm taking my round piece that has the larger cutout in the center. I'm putting glue all over the perimeter of it, and then I'm covering one end of my little piece. So next I'm going to take my key and I'm inserting it into the cutout that's in the center of my piece. And then I'm putting glue all over the tabs that are on the other end. And I'm taking my other circle, the one that has the smaller cutout. I'm inserting the tabs of my key through that cutout. And then I'm lowering everything so that those tabs still fold over, but I'm gluing down the sides of my piece like so. So next I'm going to insert my tabs through the slot that's at the top of my lid piece like so. And then I'm putting glue on the underside of those tabs, folding them down and gluing them down to that circular piece, nice and flat. These are the decorative layers for the top of my lid. So I'm using vinyl to decorate the smallest of my 3 circles. And so for this I'm using transfer tape that I've stuck against my clothing a few times to make it a little bit less sticky so that my transfer tape won't tear my cardstock. Then I'm putting glue on my 3 layers and stacking them one on top of the other, trying to maintain an even border all the way around my shapes. And then I'm putting glue on the underside of the largest circle and just gluing it to my lid. So next I'm going to apply vinyl to these 3 strips. So these 2 go on the canister part and this one goes on the lid. I'm applying some white vinyl to that silver cardstock. Now the silver cardstock is foil poster board. The letters are scored on my foil poster board. And I'm just positioning my vinyl within the score lines that are traced on my poster board. I'm applying my vinyl snowflakes to my navy blue strips. So this piece goes on the lid. Now in the Halloween version, I don't have this strip. You can certainly add this strip that would go underneath the gold, between the black and the gold. I decided to add that extra strip when I designed the Christmas themed one. I'm taking my bone folder and I'm shaping my white piece, and I'm shaping my silver poster board piece. I'm putting glue on the underside of my poster board piece, and I'm gluing it to my white piece. The ends are even, and I'm trying to position it so that it's the amount on the top and the bottom, like so. Then I'm putting glue on the underside. I've got the front of my key pointing towards me, and I want the last letter of the code, which is A, also pointing towards me. I want the center of my key to be even with the center of my letter A. That way when the lid is twisted to the letter A, it's going to open. And then I'm just wrapping the rest of it around the top of my lid. And then I'm going into the top of my lid and just spreading my glue. So the letter A is the solution to the puzzle. So my key is in line with the center of that letter A. I'm putting glue on the underside of one of my navy blue strips. I'm starting at the seam that's at the back, and I'm going just along that bottom edge and wrapping that strip around. And then I'm going to put my lid on, and then I'm going to take my second band and I'm going to glue it just below the lip of my lid. So when it's properly on, I'm going to glue this just below my lid. I'm trying to glue it on as evenly as possible. And then I have a little line here. So this line shows me where the solution to my puzzle is. So next I have a snowflake cut out of vinyl. I'm applying it right over the line that's drawn. That's the line that shows me where the solution to my puzzle is. And then I have an arrow to put on top, showing you that that's where you need to position the lid to open it. So if you're on the right letter, it just opens nice. So here are my two canisters styled very differently. So for the Christmas one, I'm going to spell S-A-N-T-A, and then it opens. For the Halloween one, I'm going to spell S-P-O-O-K-Y, and then it opens. So you can try opening it for other letters and it won't work. And the tricky one for the Santa one is that you could also spell star, S-T-A-R, which is also a Christmas theme, but it won't open. Or you could have it on the other A and it won't open. So it really has to be that one A for it to open. And so those are my locking canisters.